Okay, Marlowe, I said to myself, you're a tough guy. You've been sapped twice, choked, beaten silly with a gun, shot in the arm until you're as crazy as a couple of waltzing mice. Now let's see you do something really tough, like putting your pants on. Okay, you cuckoo. Walk and talk. What about? Anything, everything. Just talk and keep walking. I walked. I don't know how long. I didn't have a watch. They don't make that kind of time in watches anyway.
What kind of detective comes out of a drug-induced haze only to philosophize about time? In Murder My Sweet, that aspect is much more significant than the confused plot is. Here, time doesn't work the way it's supposed to. It stretches, slips, and doubles back on itself. It's a line taken straight from Raymond Chandler's source novel Farewell, My Lovely. Watchers can count seconds, but they can't measure the weight of waiting, or the way time stretches during fear, guilt, or longing. And that's what Chandler understood so well. Time in noir isn't mechanical, it's emotional. It moves according to memory and regret, not precision. And in noir, that's the only time anyone ever gets. Hello, I'm Shane, and this is Take 55, a channel for short essays about cinema. These aren't reviews, they're focused observations that explore recurring motifs, textures, and emotional undercurrents that sometimes get missed. So if you've seen the film, maybe I can offer a new way of looking at it, and if you haven't, I hope that you'll want to. In this series, we're looking at 10 film noirs that are a little unhinged, and Murder My Sweet might be one of the most narcotic of them all. Directed by Edward Dmytryk and released in 1944, Murder My Sweet marked a major image change for its star Dick Powell. Fearing audiences might expect another musical from its song and dance man, RKO changed the title so that everyone would know they were getting a hard-boiled and hard-drinking detective in the lead. Hugely influential within the genre, Raymond Chandler didn't invent the detective story, but he gave it a new language. His hero, Philip Marlowe, doesn't just solve crimes, he moves through a corrupt city with bruised integrity, trying to stay honest in a world that is constantly testing him. Marlowe has his own moral code, though it rarely helps him much. He's the kind of man who gets beaten up for asking the right questions, and he keeps going back for more. The influence of another RKO film, Citizen Kane, released only 3 years earlier, is also evident. And you can feel it in the opening as the camera glides through Marlowe's office window and in the way the story unfolds through overlapping memories. The deep shadows, the shifting points of view, the sense of time bending around recollection, all these echo Orson Welles' style. Dmytryk uses those techniques not to explain but to immerse, using Chandler's tough but poetic prose as commentary to a long hallucination. The film begins with Marlowe blindfolded, sitting in an interrogation room trying to recount how he got there.
Boys tell me I did a couple of murders. Anything in it?
We're then pulled into his memory, into a version of events that may not even be reliable. From that moment on, the film becomes a litany of confusion. The story drifts from one encounter to the other. An obnoxious hulking ex-con searches for his former girlfriend. A nervous socialite has something to hide. A phony psychic fronts a shady racket. Every setting feels disconnected, but Marlowe's narration tries to tie them all together, attempting to shape the chaos. Now, if you try to follow the plot, it begins to dissolve. The more you chase it, the less sense it makes.
Ah, this is beginning to make sense. In a screwy sort of a way. I get dragged in, get money shoved at me. I get pushed out and get money shoved at me. Everybody pushes me in, everybody pushes me out. Nobody wants me to do anything.
But that's not a weakness. That's the texture of Chandler's world. Logic collapses, atmosphere takes over, and emotion fills the gaps. Murder My Sweet isn't a film to decode, it's a film to drift through. About halfway through, Marlowe is drugged and things slide into delirium. He hallucinates running through a line of doors, forcing each one open while a man with a syringe walks straight through them, as if walls and locks no longer exist. It's one of the most unsettling scenes in 1940s noir because it turns the detective's search for logic into pure panic. Prior to this, Marlowe was told,
"My dear Mr. Marlowe, I notice in you an unpleasant tendency toward abrupt transitions. A characteristic of your generation, but in this case I must ask you to follow some sort of logical progression."
The drug sequence is exactly that. A violent shift from reason to chaos, where time loses its shape and everything solid turns fluid. It's not just Marlowe's generation that's impatient, it's the culture. The old world of tidy cause and effect is breaking down, replaced by something sketchier, more intuitive. Meaning isn't delivered through neat explanation anymore, it's implied through rhythm, movement, and contrast. You can feel the influence of Dada and Surrealism, those art movements that replaced order with shock and chance. The scene feels like Hollywood cinema catching up, learning to think in shards instead of sentences. Everything in Murder My Sweet revolves around illusion. People act drunk, act innocent, act like they're in love. Identities shift, evidence lies. Marlowe keeps staring at a photograph of the girl he's hired to find, trying to decode it in some way, but even that becomes meaningless. Nothing can be trusted. The film is full of moments where reality bends slightly out of shape. A conversation that starts as light suddenly turns hostile. Banter turns to menace without warning. And that volatility becomes the film's heartbeat. The logic is old-fashioned detective business, but the texture is pure anxiety. It's a world where truth and time can't be measured, where memory itself is a trap. Powell's performance grounds it. He walks through danger like someone who's been there before. And you can sense he's working on instinct, not certainty. That tension between wit and fatigue gives the film its pulse. Because in noir, cause and effect don't always behave either.
Okay, so I go hide under the covers. Did the police stop? Does Helen stop? Do you stop?
What do you mean, does Helen stop?
Oh, I don't know. If I always knew what it meant, it'd be a genius.
Time folds back on itself. The past keeps leaking into the present. It isn't about what happens, it's about what refuses to stop happening. And Murder My Sweet is less a detective story than a portrait of disorientation. The narrative may be tangled, but the feeling of being lost, of trying to stay upright while the ground shifts, is completely real. The film shows what happens when logic collapses and atmosphere takes control. Every detail, from Powell's voiceover to the reflection of a face on a window pane, becomes more meaningful than the mystery itself. Next time at Take 55, we move further into the realm of dreamlike logic with The Chase from 1946, another story where reality dissolves completely. If you enjoyed this episode, please like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel, and stay with me for more deep dives into the dark recesses of the mind. This is Take 55, and that's a wrap. Thanks for watching.